Hastings and the surrounding towns are saturated in rich history, with the most famous story of course being the Battle of Hastings in 1066. But the fame and the focus on this one point in time seems to have eclipsed any other, and many of the town's local residents know nothing today of what happened here during World War II. At the start of the Second World War, Hastings was, as it is today, a small fishing town. It is surprising then that it was selected as a landing ground for Operation Sea Lion, the Nazi German invasion of Britain. This area here, Roquenor, is where the Germans would have landed if Operation Sea Lion had got ahead. The geography was ideal. It was far more underfed than Dover. The shallow seas meant troops could be landed on the beach without difficulty, and the high cliffs meant that artillery wasn't a problem. However, the people of Hastings and the soldiers stationed here were determined not to let this happen, and the town took on a very different shape.
When I was 8, we was evacuated. We went to Salisbury with my mother, my younger brother and a baby sister. And we was on the train. I can remember going along and seeing barbed wire before you get to Eastbourne. Along there. Norman's Bay, all through Pemsley. But we was all excited as youngsters. We were. We all thought it was an holiday we were going on.
Now they are leaving Brighton and Hove in re-evacuation trains for inland reception areas.
1942, we came back to Bexhill, and they said it was safe. But this town was a garrison all the way along the seafront. It was out of bounds at around about 5 o'clock. I remember being in the garden, and I heard all the ladies, mother, neighbours, quick look up. Plane came over, and this bloke had a waving. Do you know what he was? He was a German. Yeah. It was the Messerschmitt, and he went off. And it wasn't long after that the Spitfire came in, but he couldn't get him. He'd gone over here, and the guns went off. So he was below the gun level.
The numerous hills and valleys along the coast, such as those between Hastings East and West Hills, created perfect cover for small bombers or reconnaissance planes. They were hidden from radar and below the level of the AA guns on the hills. Also, if a bomber couldn't make it to London and was forced to turn back, they would drop their bombs on any target they saw on the return trip. Unfortunately, this was often Hastings.
What they couldn't get rid of up there, they dropped it on us. Hastings, Bexhill.
Hastings was bombed on 85 separate occasions during the course of the war. 550 high explosive bombs and 750 incendiaries were dropped on the town. The Plaza Cinema, which nowadays is Yates Bar, was the scene of the single worst incident of the war for Hastings. The German bomb bounced off the roof and exploded in mid-air outside the cinema, where 26 people were gathered to watch the aerial battle going on above.
We had to take cover. It started a fire. The Jerry was coming in. They must have been Stuka bombers, didn't they? I can remember a horrible noise.
The Stuka was the dive bomber of choice for the Luftwaffe. It had what was called a Jericho siren attached, which was meant to and did quite successfully incite unimaginable fear in those below.
Hey there, fellas. Does anyone feel like going places? Okay, hop in and we'll go uptown for some music from the Minimar.
Considering the scale of the loss of life, it seems very apt that the most famous relic of wartime Hastings, today being restored, was famous for saving them. The Cyril and Lillian Bishop is the lifeboat that operated in Hastings from 1931 to 1950, during which time she saved at least 34 lives, including 9 German pilots. After the war, she was sold as a fishing boat, but was neglected and left to rot in a harbour in Scotland. That was until a French lifeboat collector rescued and began to restore her. However, a local man, born on and named D-Day, felt the boat deserved to be back in Hastings and spent 6 months and a great deal of money persuading the collector to give her up. And last year, after being missing for over half a century, she returned home.
So I said, why did you want her? Then he said, because I've got 23 lifeboats. I said, but it's no good to you, Simon, it's just another boat to you. It's very important to us. And we need it back in Hastings, not in France. The boat itself on Hastings Beach was a very important boat. But then we come to number 2 in her career, when the Admiralty said, we need boats of a shallow draft. The Dunkirk evacuation for the BEF. They're stuck up there, they're surrounded by Germans, Dunkirk's on fire. The only way off of there is by sea.
On the 26th of May 1940, the Cyril and Lillian Bishop set sail from here in Hastings to the beaches of Dunkirk. By the 4th of June, it was estimated she rescued 850 troops a day, where she then returned home riddled with bullet holes and shrapnel. There was also sand in her masthead, which suggested she rolled over at one point, and considering that the sea at Dunkirk was completely flat, this suggests she survived a near miss from a bomb as well. The boat is planned to be moved from here on the seafront to a more permanent home next month. I met up with D-Day to see how the progress is going.
We've had a bit of a hold up on that because the council gave us the land. It's right opposite All Saints Church, where the majority of the crew was baptised, christened, and we do know that 2 of the crew members' ashes was actually scattered in that churchyard. So the council said, great, only to discover that they didn't really own the land. We put an advert in the paper asking for funding, and a woman phoned up and she said, I'm going to come down to your shop and I'm going to give you a donation. And sure enough, on the Saturday she came walking up with 2 envelopes, opened it up, there was £500 in it. I opened up the next one and there's a lovely little letter, and it said, a lifeboat picked up my father on Dunkirk Beach and gave us as a family another 20 years of life with our father. I want to believe that that lifeboat was that lifeboat that you're working on now. And I want to see that up the road, next to the other one, where I can go up there, sit next to my father's boat and talk to him.
My father's brothers, there was 3 of them, and one uncle never came back. They disappeared, and they reckon it was Dunkirk. He was out there with my dad. I heard no more about that until later, and they reckon that's where he was taken prisoner. Dunkirk. A lot of them were. I knew his mate, and he told me years later, he said, your dad was an idiot. I said, why? He said he was struggling in the water with another young lad, because my dad was older. He said he was about 18 years old, he may be 17, and he said he was wounded, and he said your dad was trying to get him back to the boat. Well, he struggled and struggled, and they kept coming in, boom, 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 at him. And when they got on the boat, poor lad was gone, wasn't he? That must have upset my father somehow, because he was never right after the war. My dad lost it up here. So I lost my dad when I was about 14. We had a rough time as youngsters. A rough time, and we had good times, and I had naughty times.
Up there on the East Hill, there was 2 lookout posts, 2 observation posts. You must remember that Hastings was a good landing place for German troops. So they mined all the bottom. They put barbed wire around there. They had huge drums of napalm that had been rolled down into the German troops. The whole of the seafront was ringed with anti-aircraft guns. All that's left of these now are concrete bases. The steps are still there. At the end of Rockalaw, when you come to the wall, all the tank traps that used to be along here, they was all dropped in the corner, but that is one of the last remaining bits of wartime Hastings. But now, nobody even knows what it is. Times seem to have changed. I can't remember getting old. I can't remember growing up. It's only when you start thinking back you realise just how old you are.
We are interrupting our program for a piece of news for which we've all been waiting. the management announce with due thankfulness the official confirmation that hostilities in Europe have ceased.